The Marine Kingdom. The Devil in Hospital and Medication. I was in the funeral of my aunt when this pastor began to pray. I wanted to escape this man when I fell on the ground paralyzed. The devil got my drunk uncle to grab me from this pastor who wanted to pray for my deliverance. My uncle took me to the hospital. In the meantime, I saw my owl flying and joining me. I said to him, "My servant, fly to the lodge and tell my colleague to join me in the hospital. An owl is bad when he is flying around your house, for you may lose a loved one or even a job. There will be loss." When we arrive in the hospital, Micheline said, "They must not give you syringe, just take Ansett. This is a medication design in the Marine Kingdom which people take when vomiting. There is an angel of Satan inside this medication, like many other. This is a medication design thanks to vomit and sweat of water mermaid. Let me tell you that many entrepreneurs that are in the occult sell them. Thanks to sweat and liquid from the mermaid this medication is designed. And when people take it, the medication stop the stomach from releasing the food. This medication would not work on me because my stomach was accustomed to food of the Marine Kingdom. When the doctor came, he said to me, "You are losing a lot of electrolyte, a liquid element that is in the stomach." The doctor said, "Since you have lost a lot of liquid, we need to give you Ansett, and then serum." Micheline, who was in the hotel, said, "Baby, you already have a lot of serum in your body, so don't take it. If you take that medication you will see what will happen to you. You have to understand that we are still threatened by celestial angels of God who have followed you even to the hospital, and these angels of God are monitoring the whole place. Their main objective is to get you so that you will be delivered, and they want to make you a servant of their God. Don't try come out." I was communicating with this marine spirit in my spirit while my body was talking to the doctor. Then my mother came to see me in the hospital. When I opened my spiritual eyes, I saw the baby in her womb. I said to Micheline, "Is what I am seeing true?" She replied to me, "The baby is real. You will see him when he is born." When the leading doctor came, he looked at me and said, "I will need to see you." When I went to his office, he asked me, "Master, can I transfer you light?" Immediately I came to understand that the leading doctor was also a member of our occultic sect. He saw that when I encountered the man of God and I fell on the ground, I lost a lot of my capacity, and he wanted to transmit me light. He tells me, "Master, I would like you to come often here so that we can talk. How was your journey to the marine world?" I replied, "You know all things about me." The doctor replied, "I can see that you have been beneath the ocean and you are working with the Queen Micheline and the goddess Elizabeth. However, the journey beneath the sea was not easy for me. In fact, it did not work. Therefore I spent 1 year in the lodge, for I was not recognizing anyone." Then this doctor called a nurse telling her to bring me juice for refreshment, preferably red juice. Red juice most of the time are human blood. I had to drink blood for I needed to be invigorated. In the occult we call red juice, which is human blood, Emma, like hemoglobin that is in Latin. In many hospital they are placing letter H, which is the abbreviation of Hema. For in the hospital the devil is in search of blood, which is Hema in Latin, and many medication are designed with human blood. I drank that juice that was actually blood. While I was drinking, a mother was complaining that her son was losing blood. The doctor informed me that the blood that I was drinking was that of the child who was losing blood. For many claim to have strong blood, but what matter is the presence of God in the blood of human. As we drank more juice, the child went into coma, for we drank all his blood. The doctor went on to administer him treatment. Then the doctor told me, "Master, I can feel strange vibration facing us." I said, "Try to check." "What is it?" When he checked, he said, "Master, we are surrounded by the angels of God. I think we must pray to deploy a shield so that they would not see us." I say, "They will still see us, for they are superior creature." I said, "Let me remove my power and my spirit, perhaps they will not see us." Micheline said, "You just pretend to sleep and ask all your companion beast and demon around you to go and leave you." Immediately I clapped 3 times. As a result, all the beast and demons that were under my service disappeared, and Elizabeth said, "Remove your scales from the head, you will lose your power, but it's all right." When I did that, I felt that I have lost all my power. Then I left the hospital. I could not see the angels of God that were trying to get me to Jesus Christ. The destruction of the owl and the arrival of the winged goddess. Very quickly, I went to the lodge in order to recharge myself, for I lost a lot of power before the man of God. I went to one of the Church of Satan that belonged to our network. Since I had removed my power, they gave me a glass to see the spirit world. When I put on the glass, I saw my owl flying in the air and coming to me. He seems to have been damaged, for he was flying with one wing, and he shouted 3 times and warned me. He said, "Master, I am falling, I cannot reach where you are." I said, "You are not falling, let me transmit you light to reload you with power." Quickly I lifted my hand in order to transmit him light and to strengthen him. At that moment I saw a lady servant of God coming, and I saw my owl falling to the ground before my intervention. The owl fell in the place of the servant of God. I wanted to take the spirit of this demonic bird out of his body, and I began to pray, when suddenly the woman of God got where the demonic bird fell. When she saw the owl, she knew that this was a demonic instrument. The woman of God began prayer of authority. She said to my owl that was on the ground rolling and battling death, "I don't know you and I don't know your origin. In my compound I raised pets, but you are not one of them. In the name of Jesus Christ, I send you back where you come from." When she said in the name of Jesus, the owl was burned by the fire of God, and I began to feel fire in my leg and feet. While I was burning in fire, I saw the owl that was rolling, and then he disappeared. Since I was feeling God fire burning me, I went to our church for ritual and restoration. I pray to the terrestrial God of union. Immediately I found myself beneath the Atlantic Ocean, where I reported the death of my owl who was my collaborator. The Queen of Queens of the Ocean said, "I will replace the owl that was killed by the servant of God. I will give you a new associate." I was still beneath the Atlantic civilization of Micheline when I was joined by the angel Yorgun, who congratulated me for the hard work. I remained in the church for 3 days. This owl was walking before me to prevent me from encountering trouble, but he was attacked in prayer. There are moments God children must attack the enemy with no mercy. God children must become ruthless before the enemy. Many days later, I was in 3 days of prayer in the occultic church. As we were in prayer, quickly I saw that we descended under the Atlantic Ocean. I saw the Queen of Queens Micheline on her throne. She was shining and she had white hair. Behind her was the Princess Gabriel, who had a lot of hair which are sold all over the world for women to buy. The Queen of the Atlantic said, "The owl is dead, you need a new companion." I said, "You know the owl move in great speed. I would like a spirit that will move in high speed like the owl." The Queen agreed. She said the owl will be replaced by an angelic goddess that has wing. The Queen said there are many goddesses, but we will choose through horoscope. At that moment I lifted my hand and began to pray in the name of the Queen of Queens. As a result, a man appeared. He seems like a priest. He said to the Queen, "You need to provide Bobby with the helper he has worked hard and deserve it. The time has come for us to shock the world and we have a lot of work." The Queen replied, "I won't give him another bird but an angelic goddess that move and the speed of lightning." When the Queen agreed, I saw the priest praying in Latin. When he had finished, I saw an angel descending. We were under the Atlantic Ocean. When this angel descended from the sky, I saw that she was a lady. She had a lot of hair and she had great wing. When she was descending, I heard the priest saying, "Greet the princess, greet her." I received the wing princess and I was told this was my new collaborator. When the ritual had finished, there was music and dance in the Atlantic civilization. What is sad is that the dance of the great ladies of the sea are found in the church and in the world. After dancing and enjoying, there were food and meat that were served, which were meat and flesh of victim of human sacrifice, including the people that I have sacrificed. There were meat of people that were sacrificed by various churches of Satan in the city. When the celebration ended, we went to a mountain in the Marine Kingdom, thanks to which I found myself in the surface of the earth in the Congo. I said to my new helper, the wing goddess, "Do you know me?" She said, "It is a favor to serve you. I have seen you before in meeting beneath the water. People describe you as CDHL. There are signs and symbol in your spirit. You have the terrestrial god symbol on your left hand and in your right hand you are dressed with the skin of an animal. I am at your service, but I don't have communication means with you." I said to Micheline, "There is no communication between me and the wing goddess." She said to me, "Stretch your hand towards her face." When I did so, I saw the face of this wing lady on the palm of my hand. She was asked to extend her hand towards my face. When she did that, my face appeared on her palm hand. The Queen of the Atlantic told us, when you need one another you will feel vibration on your hand. You can go now. When it was morning I went to the market to buy something. In the market I saw a lady selling many stuff. When she saw me she told me, "Are you Michelin husband? Your food cannot be found here in this market. These are for human consumption. Your food is in that shop there." She was actually talking about human part that were sold in the shopping center in the shape of animal meat. At that moment I felt my hand vibrating. When I looked at the palm of my hand I saw my new helper, the winged goddess. To my surprise, this woman in the market told me, "Do you know that the winged goddess, your new helper, is my daughter?" I said, "What do you mean? How can this female angel be your daughter?" She said, "You are talking to my daughter beneath the Atlantic. You seem surprised by this. Likewise I have delivered my daughter that is underwater. You have pregnanted your mother and you will see the child that will be born. He will not be different from my daughter underwater." Then the winged goddess in the palm of my hand told me, "The lady you are talking to is my mother." "It is the truth," I said. "It is plausible. I want to warn those who have spiritual husband and wives. Your sperm are collected and children are born underwater thanks to your sperm, and these children will oppose your terrestrial children. They cause conception issue." Then I went to the shop to buy meat. When a worker saw me he said, "Servant of the God of Union, what can I do for you?" I bought animal meat that were human finger. Anyway, I was eating only human meat. The birth of a race of Nephilim and hybrid. When I went home I got a call from the mistress of the ocean. She said, "Human meat that you bought is not just for you. The child in the womb of your mother need to eat that food. Therefore your mother must eat for the child to eat. The child in her womb would not eat normal food, only human part. Moreover, I was to get my mother to drink human blood for the baby in the womb needed it." One day as my mother was seated, Michelin asked me to wear a glass and to observe my mother tummy. When I looked I saw the baby in her womb. He was 4 months. Surprisingly he was standing in the womb and he was holding a book and a wood. Michelin said, "This is the son we have been waiting. He is gonna be very powerful. He is a mysterious child." I said to the mistress of Sea Michelin, "Where will I keep the child? I already have all these goddess and princess that you sent me, and I don't know where to put them." The mistress said, "Have peace. We know what we will do with the child and we know where we will send these marine ladies." I was looking at the child in the womb of my mother. I saw that he was like walking in a forest, for there seems to be another world inside the womb of my mother. Great mysteries. I said to the Queen of Queens of the Atlantic, "What is the meaning of this? There seems to be another dimension in the womb of my mother where the child is walking." She said to me, "You will see him when he is born very soon." Days later I was sleeping when I heard the bell ringing. When I woke up I began to pray. As I was praying the face of the King of the Ocean appeared and got closer to me. He had white hair and white beard and he was shining. He tells me, "Abi, you are a strong man and I will make you great in the world. You will go to places. Prepare yourself, for the child is to be born today, and you shall receive him." I said to the King of the Ocean, "Where am I supposed to keep the child?" The King of the Atlantic said, "You live with marine spirit in your house. That's where the child will live, for your house is no longer a house but the dwelling of the spirit of water, and the child is coming." Then my mother began to cry for delivery pain and she was taken to hospital where they discover cyst in her genitalia, which was actually the baby. The doctor scheduled a surgical operation in order to remove the cyst. When the operation began I was at home before the altar, when suddenly a strong wind began to blow in my room. All the books began to fall. I got a call from Michelin telling me, "Take a white cloth and spread it on the table." Quickly it became stained with blood and I began to hear the cry of delivery pain, when suddenly I saw the mistress of the Atlantic coming, and she was joined by the winged goddess, my helper, who was wearing gloves like a midwife. I saw that these gloves were placenta. She stretched her hand on the table as if she was about to receive the baby that was supposed to be delivered. I asked her, "What is happening here?" The winged goddess said, "I am supervising the delivery of the child." Quickly I saw that we were already beneath the Atlantic Ocean. As we kept hearing cries of delivery pain, I saw a child appearing. When the baby came to the world I saw that he had 2 horns on his shoulder, and he had a tail whose bottom end was an arrow. When I looked at him I saw that he had the face of an adult and I was seized by terror and fear. The mistress of the ocean said, "Fear not, this is the spirit that you are supposed to take care of." I was instructed to eat the blood that had covered the white cloth. Micheline said, "Concentrate and do magic prayer." Immediately I began to pray and I summoned all the spirit given to me and I turned to an animal. I became an hyena, and I drank the blood that was all over the place. When I had finished, I saw that I was covered with animal skin all over the body, and I had the shape of an animal. Micheline said, "From this day onward, you will go to mission with this beastly shape." As she spoke I saw that I was filled with incredible power and I had long nails. Countless goddesses underwater were laughing with infernal laugh. When the delivery ended there was music and dancing. Some of these dances of Queen of the Sea have entered the church. You can see that these dances are like a salutation of mermaids to the Queen of Water. The first person to dance that dance was the gospel singer Sister Marie, then secular musician began to dance it. Later, I returned to the surface. My sister told me, "You need to visit Mom in the hospital, remember to bring her some food." Quickly I went to buy veg in the market. Then I heard the mistress of the Atlantic telling me, "You need to buy something that has blood like sausage." In truth this sausage was human lung. In the butchery I saw meat that was suspended, but with my spiritual eyes, I saw that they were human leg. Satanists consume specific member of human body because they have a specific power. Human blood has its power. When you consume heart there is another power. I remember I used to have babies in my freezer, for there is a certain power in the flesh of the baby. Every part of human body transmit power. I was keen to buy my mother meat that was human. Moment later, I decided not to do it. When I left the place, immediately I got the call of Micheline telling me, "Abby, why are you annoying me? Why do you want to make me talk all the time? Don't you know that your mother has already joined us? Get back inside the shop, buy that human leg." On that day I cooked for my mother human meat, the Queen Asher, and chaos beneath the Atlantic. Afterwards I went to the lodge. A priest in the lodge asked, "Since the new goddess came to serve you, have you given her a name, and do you communicate with her?" I said I have not yet given her a new name and I communicate with her through the vibration of my arm. The priest said, "There is terrestrial power of the God of Union in your hand, you cannot use it for Marine Kingdom power, you got to transmit that goddess light and terrestrial power for synchronicity." The priest said, "The child is already born and he has a mission to fulfill in the world of men, you got to be careful with his first mission. If you succeed you shall be promoted in the spirit world and people will fear you." Actually the child that was born was living in my house with marine spirit. He was moving in the house, hovering in space. On that day when I went home I saw him playing in the house, flying all over the place. While he was playing, this mysterious child grabbed my younger brother on the neck. As a result the latter began to suffer asphyxiation. I had to intervene against this mysterious child. I tried to grab him but I saw that I was failing. Quickly I left my body, and I grabbed this child like a dog. I told him, "What do you think you are doing to my sister?" When he replied to me, I saw that he was speaking in an unknown language that I have never heard on the earth. I called the mistress of the Atlantic Micheline, for the child was speaking a strange language. Micheline said, "The child is saying, why are you holding him like a dog?" Then Micheline asked me, "Would you like to show me how you are holding him?" When I show the Queen of the Atlantic how I held the child, she screamed to me, "You cannot hold him that way, let go." When I let go the child, the latter began to cry. As soon as he began to cry I saw countless goddesses, princess and ladies of the sea appearing, and they were angry for the child was crying. At that moment a beast in the form of the dragon showed up, and he rolled my younger brother, and the beast lifted his head like a snake in order to devour him. The mistress of the Atlantic said, "Bobby, what have you done? Why did you hold the child that way?" "Because you are stubborn, we shall devour your brother." I said to the Queen Micheline, "No way. You will not kill my brother." Immediately I summoned the winged goddess, my helper, and when she showed up, I said, "This is what you're gonna do. You will estimate and calculate the rays of these marine spirit that are around us and give me the report." Immediately she began to assess the rays and power of the marine spirit that were in the perimeter of 100 meter. When she had done that she tried to call me to report to me. When I lifted my hand to communicate to her, I saw the Queen of the Atlantic Micheline speaking instead of the Wind Goddess, my helper. She stopped the Wind Goddess from talking to me, and she said to me, "Gabi, since you are stubborn you shall see, we promise you power but you fail to understand that you have not yet received it. Now we will show you." Immediately I saw the dragon that was rolled on my brother. He began to asphyxiate him in order to kill him, and I saw blood coming out. My brother suffered a seizure and fell on the ground lifeless. When I saw this, quickly I returned in my body and I took her to the hospital, where my uncle was a doctor. When we arrived in the hospital, my uncle took my brother and told me, "You there, stay out of the hospital, stay away and don't enter." Actually my uncle was a pastor. It's like the Lord had revealed to him that I would come here with this case. When he took my brother in a room of the hospital, he began to pray, and I could hear my uncle praying, saying, "We know that you have took him beneath the sea. I can see that you are taking her soul beneath the water, but wherever you are taking his spirit. In the name of Jesus Christ I reclaim her soul, and I set her free from captivity." As my uncle was reclaiming the soul of my sister, the Queen of the Atlantic Micheline called and asked me to join her where she land on the surface of the earth when she come to earth. In order to meet her, I went home and laid down and I left my body. Then I joined Micheline where she land on the surface world. I saw the ladies of the sea and Micheline. They surrounded my brother that was laid down on a rock. They decided to kill him. As we were gathered, we kept hearing my uncle the pastor praying in the hospital and reclaiming the soul of my brother. The Queen of Queens Micheline said, "The pastor is praying in order to recapture the soul of your brother. We are waiting to see what he can do. Let him do it and we will see." At that moment I began to plead to the Queen to spare my brother. She said to me, "Gabi, you have to comply to orders, otherwise your body that you left in your house will be separated with your spirit forever and you will die." Micheline said, "If you dare to oppose me, you will be separated from your body forever. You will be buried but your spirit will continue to serve me beneath the Atlantic." I began to cry when this evil queen spoke. While I was crying, I got a call from the terrestrial kingdom of Satan. It was the call of the angel Yorguan. He said to me, "Gabi, how can you let these marine spirit go to this length? You need to call the God of the earth and the union." We were underwater and we were hearing my uncle the pastor praying and claiming the soul of my brother. As soon as I was about to call the God of union, Micheline asked me, "Who are you calling at this moment?" I was about to answer this Queen of the Atlantic, when suddenly I saw the attention of the Queen. The Prince and Goddess of the Atlantic focused on something that was descending. When I looked I saw a huge hand descending where we were, and this massive hand liberated my brother from the captivity of the Queen of the Atlantic. I saw the hand of God taking out my brother. I saw the Queen of the Atlantic and marine spirit beholding the brightening hand that liberated my brother. The angel of Satan told me, "Gabi, call the Queen of the Sea Esha." Straight away I began to do magic prayer. As a result the Queen of the Sea Esha appeared. She was an old woman dressed in fashion trend, but behind her I saw strange creatures of the forest like monkeys and others. In fact there seems to be a forest behind the Queen Esha as she stood in distance. Then she came towards me with great speed and she held my hand. The Queen Esha said to the Queen Micheline, "You will do nothing against Bibi. Anyway you have breached my territory. You have entered my territory without my authorization. This is not your land and this is illegal. I did not oppose you because you were in mission. I am not here because of your recommendation, but I am intervening by the instruction of the terrestrial kingdom and the God of Union that sent you their servant Bibi. I am also under his service." However, as the Queen Esha was talking, all the ladies of the Atlantic were watching the massive hand that had liberated my brother. The Queen Micheline said to the Queen Esha who came for me, "Are you really seeing this white hand that took the boy?" The Queen Esha replied to her, "I know you are stunned by the white hand, but I am here to take this servant of the God of Union of the terrestrial kingdom." When the Queen Esha wanted to take me away from the domination of the Queen of Micheline, I said to the Queen Esha, "I would like to watch this white hand, it's impressive and breathtaking." The Queen Esha replied to me, "Bibi, we are lucky that this shining hand has not intervened against all of us. This white and shining hand that have liberated your brother can destroy us all. We are lucky to be ignored by this mighty hand." While the Queen Esha was taking me out of the water, I was watching the white hand taking my brother's spirit out of the marine kingdom. When he came out of the Atlantic Ocean, I saw two shining angels of God that were handed the spirit of my brother by the shining hand. When this hand had handed my brother to heavenly angels of the Lord, I saw the shining and massive hand of the Lord banging the oceanic water. When the water was hit by the hand of the Lord, I watched and observed the oceanic waves of water shaking and rising, and a multitude of goddess and princess including the Queen Micheline were scattered and they fell to the ground. I saw that the wave was so huge and there arose a whirlpool in the water because of the wave, that were descending to the depth of the ocean. Since we were rattled, the Queen Isha told me, the situation is grave, do not look back, keep looking up as we are rising. I saw the goddess, queen and sirens in stampede and there was pandemonium and chaos, for marine spirit were running all over the place escaping the wave of the whirlpool. The winged goddess that was given to me was trying to join me, as we were running from the wave. When I got home, I saw the Queen Isha on the wall of my house, in the form of an illustration on the wall. She said I have to go and join my children that I have left. She was talking about beast that I saw in the forest behind her. She said, I just came in order to get you out of that situation. When I joined my body and rose up, I felt pain all over my body. I came to understand that this was the implication of the chaos in the Atlantic Ocean caused by the hand of the Lord, that was activated by the prayer of my uncle the pastor. My mother informed me that my brother told her in the hospital that she saw Micheline who came with people that sequestrated him, and they took him into captivity refusing to free him despite his opposition. My brother actually saw what happened in the spirit world in the form of a dream. Few days later, I met the goddess Elizabeth beneath the Atlantic and she told me, Abby, why did you not warn us that the shining hand that intervened to liberate your brother that day was that of his God? I said to the goddess, you are water spirit, you are supposed to know more than a human like me. She replied, did you not see how we stood there watching this hand? It's because since we began to exist beneath the ocean we had never seen this kind of hand. We don't know the mode of operation of that God and his angels. You should have warned us. I said to Elizabeth, I did not know that it was God. It is when I saw his angels that I knew that they were angels of God. Elizabeth retorted in anger, why are you talking that way? They are not God angels and don't talk about God here for he is not God. In truth the prayer of my uncle the pastor in the name of Jesus Christ has caused great chaos in the oceanic kingdom, that had captured the spirit of my brother under the Atlantic Ocean. This spiritual warfare prayer caused a massive whirlpool and great waves in the Atlantic Ocean and my brother was liberated. A man of prayer is always feared in the spiritual world, therefore God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name above all names, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father.